Part 14. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 131. Heavenly Domain. Moxio des Hu. Teisha Demon Sect. Are these the Hedeo immortal seeds? The 9 demon old man, Lord of the Heavenly Court, Lord Zhantien, 12 ancestors and other giants of the ancestors all stared at them. On that altar, more than 30 immortal species of Hedeo were all sealed. These were naturally Zhangchen snatched the immortal seeds brought back. Zhangchen was originally worried that these immortal seeds could not be brought back from the ancient immortal era. But things went smoothly beyond his expectation. Among these immortal species, there are weak evil immortal ways. Zhangchen said. Evil immortal Taoism. As soon as these words came out, the 9 demons old man and other ancestor giants were all shocked. Ever since Zhangchen deduced the evil immortal system, the 9 demons old man had passed it on to the heavenly court and the 5th ancestral land. Therefore, they knew very well that what kind of terrifying Taoism is contained in the evil immortal system. Even with their cultivation level, once they are invaded by the evil immortal law, they will be greatly affected. Could it be that the loss of the Hedeo immortal seed was due to the invasion of evil tribes from outside the world? The 12 ancestors opened their mouths and said these words. The 9 demon old man, the Lord of the Heavenly Court, and the Lord Zhantien also all had this guess. Probably. Zhangchen nodded and told in detail about his trip to the ancient immortal era. The world will change. The road to immortality will be cut off. It seems that the ancient immortals in the early years of immortality are also aware of the evil clan outside the sky. That's why the ancestors such as the 9 demon elders of the immortal way were suddenly enlightened after hearing this. The disappearance of the 10,000 Immortals Conference, the disconnection of the Hedeo immortal seeds, the rise of the ancient immortal court. In this way, all the gaps and incompleteness in the ancient immortal era can be connected. Can the evil immortal ways among these immortal species be resolved? After that, the 9 demon old man looked at Zhangchen. In terms of cultivation, everyone present is stronger than Zhangchen. But in terms of understanding of the evil immortal system, they can't even catch up with Zhangchen. You know, Zhangchen Chenke deduced the evildoers of the evil immortal system just from the remaining evil immortal Deo Dharma. The Lord of Heaven, Zhantien Venerable, and the 12 ancestors all looked at Zhangchen. If the evil immortal Deo Dharma could be purified, then these Hedeo immortal species, even they will be extremely interested. Since the immortal ancient, the holy ancestor has completely become a rumored existence, and the supreme ancient ancestor is rarely born. Compared with the immortal ancient era, this difference is too far. Just like Jew giants such as the demon old man and the Lord of Heaven are all stuck at half step and cannot break through. Therefore, some people have always suspected. Is there something wrong with the cultivation system of future generations? But, let's talk about the cultivation system of future generations. No. But occasionally there are still people who can set foot in the realm of the supreme ancestors. Can be removed. It just takes some time. Zhangchen specially brought these fairy seeds back, naturally because he wanted them to be useful. When the 9 demon old man and other ancestors heard about it, they couldn't hide their excitement and left without disturbing Zhangchen. Immediately, Zhangchen concentrated his mind and carefully perceive and capture the weak but tenacious evil immortal Taoism. Fairyland. The forbidden land of the emperor. This forbidden land is as peaceful as ever, like a paradise. Hongmeng Taoism. An old monk, surrounded by golden Buddha light, like the supreme immortal Buddha, appeared from the void. In front of the old monk, Sun Taiji and other forbidden creatures stood respectfully. This old monk Kang is the supreme immortal Buddha in the imperial forbidden land. Ancestor. Previously during the immortal ancient war, the young monk Sun Taiji met was exactly the one in front of him. Do you know why the path of Hedeo immortal seed was completely cut off? The old monk looked at Sun Taiji with a smile on his face. Please let me know, my ancestor. Maybe it's because we have fought side by side before. Sun Tianji rarely felt nervous in front of this old monk, the supreme ancestor. Because at that time, the origin of the immortal way in all the worlds was infected by the way of the evil clan outside the world. At that time, the ancient immortals of that generation thought that the immortal seeds they had sealed in advance were not infected, so they took them out and held the final 10,000 immortals conference. The old monk said. Think. Could it be that these Hongmeng immortal seeds and other immortal Dao seeds have been infected by evil immortal Dao Dharma? When Sun Tianji heard this, everyone looked moved. That's right. The old monk nodded. Sun Tianji was speechless. If he had known this, why would he have fought so hard? He might as well have killed Zhang Chen first and grabbed the immortal court emperor's seal. What would happen if this immortal seed was integrated into the body? Suddenly, Sun Tianji thought of Zhang Chen, Yejin Wuo, Bai Ziu, and Gu Senluo. In addition to him, Zhang Chen and the other 4 people had all won the Hedao immortal seed, and there were more than one. The first ancestral land, the 10th ancestral land, let's not talk about the underworld for now. Among the Taisha demon sect in the heavenly realm, there is no supreme ancient ancestor now. In other words, it is very likely that the people of the Taisha demon sect will not be able to detect that the immortal seed has been infected. In the short term, there will be no problem, but in the future, you will not be able to set foot in the ancestral realm. The old monk said. Among the geniuses of his generation, only 3 people successfully broke through the existence of the ancient ancestors. In this case, Taisha demon son would be useless. Not being able to set foot in the ancient ancestor means that you will always be stuck in the realm of the immortal king. Although in the realm of the immortal king, the ancestor giant is also famous in the area. But in front of the supreme ancient ancestor, he is extremely weak. It can even be said that there is a huge difference between these two realms. A supreme ancient ancestor can establish an immortal imperial clan, and someone can become an immortal clan. But the realm of the immortal king cannot be achieved. Uncertain. Although these Hedao immortal species are infected by the evil immortal law, there are ways to resolve them. In the past, my Hedao immortal seed was also infected and was later purified. When the old monk heard this, he shook his head and said, if this is the case, then why is the path of immortality completely cut off? Sun Tianji said in surprise. Since there is a way to resolve it, the path of Hedao immortal seed should always be passed down. Because the way to resolve the evil immortal Taoism is in the hands of the immortal palace. The immortal palace has never been involved in disputes and has always been hidden in the world. It was not until later, when the strange source and evil tribes outside the world broke out, and the ancient immortal palace was overthrown, that the immortal palace came into being and taught those secrets. By that time, the Hedao immortal seed has been completely infected and cannot be purified. Furthermore, at that time, Immortal Court had opened up a new system of cultivating immortals, and the path to immortality was naturally erased. The old monk told the inside story of the past. Although the destruction of the ancient Immortal Court was not restored, the source of the strangeness and the evil clan outside the world were suppressed. It was also because of this that the old monk was able to purify the evil magic of the immortal species, and thus in one fell swoop entering the realm of the supreme ancient ancestor. Of course, the destruction of the ancient Immortal Court is probably what the Immortal Palace hopes to see. Because the power of the ancient Immortal Court at that time was so terrifying that even the Immortal Palace could not resist it. What is the relationship between the Immortal Palace and the Taisha demon sect? Sun Tianji has seen the Immortal Palace in ancient books. It is a more mysterious force than their imperial forbidden land. In the history of the immortal realm, the number of times the Immortal Palace appears is pitiful, and almost no one knows about it in later generations. And since the secret method to resolve the immortal seed is in the hands of the Immortal Palace, With the way the Immortal Palace acts, it is unlikely that they will help Jiang Chen, right? After all, when the path to the immortal seed in their immortal domain is cut off, the Immortal Palace did not appear. It was not until the ancient Immortal Court was about to be destroyed and the immortal domain was in danger that the Immortal Palace came to the rescue. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 132. At the 10,000 Immortals Conference, when the immortal seeds were being snatched away, the person Taisha Demon Son joined forces with was the heir to the Immortal Palace. The old monk heard this and said. Sun Tianji was startled. He finally understood why his ancient ancestor would say that Jiang Chen's cultivation path would not necessarily be abolished. But he remembered that Jiang Chen had helped the Immortal Palace the heir, who snatched the sky seed. As long as the heir of the Immortal Palace is still alive, he will definitely not sit idly by and ignore such a huge cause and effect. In the end, all the hard work was in vain. After a long time, Sun Tianji came back to his senses. It's not all hard work in vain. This Hongmeng immortal seed is only slightly infected by evil ways. I have a way to purify it. The old monk saw this and said with a smile again. Really? Such a twist of events made Sun Tianji's eyes suddenly brighten. From his ancient ancestors' words before, we can deduce that the immortal seed is an important condition for advancing to the ancient ancestor realm. Otherwise, his ancient ancestor would not be able to, after dispelling the evil magic of the immortal seed, he entered the ancient ancestor realm. Now that the great way to heaven is feasible, Sun Tianji naturally cannot conceal his excitement. Follow me into the ancestral land. The old monk waved his cassock, and the void rose up in turbulence, and a mysterious ancient land appeared. That ancient land was the true beginning of the imperial Forbidden Land. Yes. The immortal Buddha's light flickered. The old monk and Sun Tianji just disappeared. At this time, outside world. With Jiang Chen and other 5 descendants of the immortal court returning from ancient times, the Taoism of the 10,000 domains has been hotly debated. Because there are rumors that the 5 of them brought back the supreme opportunity to aspire to the ancestral realm from the ancient immortal era. Supreme Ancestor. This is the realm that all half-step supreme ancestors in all the worlds dream of entering. The emergence of those rumors immediately caused quite a commotion. Of course, it was just a commotion. Because they can't afford to offend any of the 5 descendants of the immortal court. Yejinwu is the descendant of the first ancestral land. Baiziu is the descendant of the 10th ancestral land. Sun Tianji is a creature that came out of the most ancient forbidden place in the immortal domain, the imperial Forbidden Land. Gu Senluo is the descendant of the yin-yang tower of life and death who can command the underworld. As for Jiang Chen, behind him are not only Taisha Demon Sect and ancient heavenly court, but also the 5th ancestral land. The 5 of them have such amazing backgrounds that even the 10 directions and 9 ancestral lands would not dare to provoke them easily. Since the return of Immortal Ancient, the descendants of the 5 emperor seals who had been tit for tat have all become silent. Time flies by in this weird atmosphere. 2 months later. Taisha Demon Sect, Ancestral Demon Palace. Destroy. Jiang Chen, who was sitting cross-legged, with chaos surging around him and manifesting the chaotic world, suddenly shouted. Tisk tisk tisk. Immediately, there were clusters of flames burning in the chaotic world. Those flames were light gray and filled with the indescribable and strange immortal energy. That was the energy of the evil immortal law. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After that, ancient immortal species flew out of the chaotic world. There were 39 of them. Counting Jiang Chen's fused world tree seedlings, there are a total of 40. Now, the world tree seedlings can be truly integrated. Jiang Chen's hands changed into seals, and his whole mind sank into the world tree sapling. Not long after, hundreds of millions of chaotic fairy lights bloomed in Jiang Chen's body. Every inch of flesh and blood, every bone, every meridian, are filled with chaotic fairy light. At the same time, the chaotic world around Zhang Chen is gradually integrated into his limbs. This is attracted by the seedlings of the world tree, and the two are constantly merging. It can be said that at that time, there was a real world in Zhang Chen's body, which was being nurtured and born. This was not applicable to the chaotic world that Zhang Chen had evolved into before. That chaotic world, in the final analysis, was just a Taoist world. It was just created by Zhang Chen and came out of it. A path of cultivation is a deduced Taoist vision. After all, even a chaotic divine body cannot derive a world out of thin air. But with the world tree seedling, this is different. The world tree seedling, it contains the true origin of the world. Zhang Chen fused the world tree saplings, and then integrated the chaotic world. A real chaotic world will truly evolve. At this time, in a deserted ancient domain, several black-robed creatures with restrained auras came out of the void. There are 9 people in total. The 9 of them all have ancient numerical symbols on their backs. Obviously, the evil cultivator that disappeared for a long time has reappeared in all the worlds. The few evil cultivators that were originally lost were replenished and returned to the number of 9. In another half-month, some innate weather luck will come, which is an opportunity for us. An evil cultivator with green eyes shining in his eyes said. Since the appearance of the Ancient Immortals Conference, the ancient ancestors finally made up their minds. They cannot let the 5 Emperor Seals of the Immortal Court merge into one. The Ancient Immortal Court, too, can't rise anymore. The battle over luck, especially innate luck, is too coercive. This is definitely not a good time to take action during a battle over luck. The evil cultivator in black robe with the word Lu on his back shook his head directly and did not approve of this plan. Indeed, the last incident in Guyuan Wonderland was the best example. Even if we lift the seal and attack with all our strength, the possibility of success is extremely low. Other evil cultivators also spoke one after another. Under normal circumstances, it would be easy for them to fight against the 5 successors of the Emperor's seal. After all, the huge gap in cultivation is not so easy to overcome. But if the cultivation is suppressed at the same level, the situation is different. No matter which one of the 5 descendants of the Emperor's seal of the Immortal Court, they are all stunningly evil. It can be said that even the immortal creatures, at the same level, are definitely not their opponents. Otherwise, the ancient fairy court has been destroyed for countless epochs, and it will not be until this life that all 5 descendants are gathered. So besides the battle of luck, when else do we have the chance to take action? If they continue to delay it and wait for them to set foot in the realm of immortality, it will be even more impossible to succeed. The evil cultivator before said in a cold voice. Teishumatsi and other 5 descendants of the Emperor's seal are always guarded by ancestor-level giants. With them alone, no matter when they take action, the possibility of success is not high. In comparison, if you take action during a battle of luck, your success rate will be higher. You have no chance to take action. At this moment, a cold voice appeared without warning. Who? The 9 evil cultivators were all covered with ice, and their hearts were filled with chills. They wanted to run away immediately without even thinking about it. But they had just reacted when a mysterious and terrifying immortal power suddenly swept away. Open. As soon as the immortal power passed by, the 9 evil cultivators exploded one after another and turned into blood mist all over the sky. In the blink of an eye, the 9 evil cultivators in the realm of immortality disappeared. Immortal light shone. A statue wearing a graceful woman in a sky-blue dress appeared out of the air, filled with mysterious power. Beside the graceful woman, there followed a young girl of 17 or 18 years old. Master, there are only 9 true immortals, so I won't ask you to go there in person, right? The young woman spoke, somewhat puzzled. There are only 9 true immortals in the area, and anyone from the immortal palace can kill them. her master would actually go out in person for such a trivial matter. This naturally made the young woman extremely surprised. You must know that although her master has not yet broken into the rumored holy realm, he is still proud of other ancestral realms. In the eyes of her master, the level of true immortal is no different from an ant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 133. This is your master's order. The graceful woman smiled and said, Master is out of seclusion. When the young woman heard this, her pupils shrank sharply. Since the ancient times, her uncle has been in seclusion and enlightenment. Countless epochs have passed. Is she finally going to leave seclusion? Before the seclusion, her master's cultivation was to set foot in seclusion. She has reached the realm of the supreme ancient ancestor. Now, after countless years of enlightenment, could it be that she has broken into the rumored holy realm? If so, then her immortal palace will be able to give orders just like the ancient immortal palace in the past. All over the world. Now that the source of strange things and the evil clan outside the world are looming, your uncle will naturally be released from seclusion. The graceful woman said, and with a wave of her dress, the world immediately changed. The next moment, the two of them left the 10,000 realms and came to a land outside the sky. It is said to be a land outside the sky, but it is also a bit like a blessed land in the cave. Green mountains and green waters, Linghu fairy waterfall has lush ancient trees and rolling mountains, and fairy birds and beasts can be seen from time to time. An ancient and mysterious fairy palace is quietly suspended in the void. There are thousands of fairy lights falling from the fairy palace, the ultimate immortal method in the world. After returning, the graceful woman stepped out and entered the immortal palace. Senior sister. In that fairy palace, a beautiful woman wearing misty fairy clothes was sitting cross-legged quietly. She was clearly right in front of you, but her whole person seemed to be one with heaven and earth. No matter how she felt, there is no breath at all, and it seems that it may fly away at any time. Meet my uncle. The young woman immediately knelt down respectfully. After so many years of worshipping in the immortal palace, this was the first time she saw the true form of her uncle. As the master of the immortal palace, her uncle was an existence that shocked the entire Xianhuang world. Even among the few direct disciples, the young woman is quite nervous. Get up. The stunningly beautiful woman slowly opened her eyes, revealing a pair of clear eyes as blue as the sky. If Zhang Chen were here, he would definitely recognize her. This stunningly beautiful woman is none other than Chen, whom he met at the 10,000 Immortals conference. Yan Ran. Senior sister, all the evil cultivators who sneaked in have been killed. However, they attach great importance to the descendants of the immortal court, and they will not let it go. Why not? Chen Sui looked at Chen Yan Ran. The meaning of her words was obvious. Instead of going around killing people like this, it would be better to kill them directly at the base of the evil cultivators and avoid future troubles forever. The source of strangeness and the evil clan outside the world are not that easy to deal with. Chen Yan Ran naturally understood the meaning of Chen Sui's words and shook her head slightly. If they were just evil cultivators who fell into evil ways, it would naturally be easy to kill them. But the strange source and the evil tribes outside the world behind those evil cultivators are the real thorny problem. If not for this, the ancient immortal court, which was so prosperous at the time, would not have been overthrown. Although the destruction of the ancient immortal court was related to the layout of the evil clan from outside the world, infecting the Hedeo immortal race. But it can still be seen that the source of the strangeness, what a terrifying background they have with the evil clan outside the world. Correct. That guy from the immortal family has been disappearing recently, seeming to be planning something. After hearing this, Chen Sui revealed the news about the immortal family. The person she was talking about was naturally the oldest being of the immortal family, Xian Taiyuan. Ever since Zhang Chen killed Xian Wuodao, the Immortal Palace has been pay close attention to Xian Taiyuan's actions. To be honest, if her Immortal Palace hadn't been intimidating her, no one could say what Xian Taiyuan would have done. After all, in the Battle of the Immortal Dao Palace, Zhang Chen almost cut off the Changsheng immortal family. The hope of this life. No problem. If he dares to mess around, I will kill him. Chen Yanran spoke calmly, without any disturbance in her words. In the past, during the 10,000 Immortals conference, she could suppress the Wuodao Immortals with her Dharma body alone. Now, she can still do it? So domineering. Chen Ling-er, who was standing respectfully aside, was shocked and admired Chen Yanran even more. Looking at the entire Xianhuang world, she is the only one who dares to kill an ancient ancestor. And Chen Ling-er also knows that her uncle is the only one who dares to kill an ancient ancestor. Uncle, you are definitely not talking nonsense. The immortal family has never dared to act rashly because of her uncle's decree. Senior sister, you are protecting me secretly, and no one else knows. What do you want me to say? Sensing the killing intent in Chen Yanran's words, a somewhat narrow smile appeared on Chen Sui's face. It seems that her senior sister woke up from the endless reincarnation only because of Zhang Chen. Your skin is itchy, right? With Chen Yanran's cultivation level, she could naturally sense the playfulness in Chen Sui's eyes. Her pretty face was slightly red, her eyes were slightly narrowed, and a dangerous light appeared in her clear and bright eyes. Ha ha ha. This actually made Chen Sui's smile even wider. Because she actually saw a bit of embarrassment from her senior sister's expression. So many years. This was the first time that she saw her senior sister acting like a little woman. This also made Chen Sui become more and more interested in Zhang Chen. Call out. At this time, a ray of fairy light suddenly fell from the sky. Chen Yanran and Chen Sui, with a thought, got the news in the fairy light. Half a month later, Bai Ziu, the 10th ancestor, challenged Zhang Chen, the demon sect of Taishu. This news has just come from the 10th ancestral land and the heavenly domain. This also means that the battle for the successors of the ancient immortal court is finally coming. Do you want to help? Chen Sui suppressed her smile and looked at Chen Yanran. The help she said naturally meant helping Zhang Chen. With her immortal palace taking action, there would be no surprise for Zhang Chen to become the heir of the ancient immortal palace. Need not. Chen Yanran shook her head. Zhang Chen ultimately has to take this road by himself. It may not be a good thing for her to help. In the immortal palace, shortly after getting the news spread quickly. Not long after, everyone in the 10 directions domain and the 9 ancestral lands learned about it, which caused a huge uproar. Just a few days later, the entire Taoist order in all heavens and realms knew the news, and the heavens were in turmoil. Bai Ziu, the descendant of the 10th ancestral land, was an ancient genius, and his cultivation had already reached the realm of the great emperor. Zhang Chen, the holy son of Taishu demon sect, heir of the ancient heaven, and the 5th ancestor as his backer. Although Zhang Chen's cultivation level is only at the 5th level of the emperor realm, his combat power is not weaker than that of the great emperor realm. The head-on collision of these two unparalleled monsters naturally attracted the attention of all the heavens and all regions. Heavenly domain. Taishu demon sect. Strange. Could it be that the 10th ancestral land resolved the evil immortal law among the immortal seeds so quickly? The 9 demon old man, the Lord of Heaven and the 12 ancestors, gathered together to discuss Bai Ziu's challenge. Naturally, Zhang Chen did not refuse the challenge sent by Bai Ziu. Zhang Chen was born with innate luck, and Zhang Chen could not let it go. In other words, as long as Bai Ziu appears, they will definitely face each other. Although Bai Ziu has amazing talent, the 9-demon old man and other ancestors also have strong confidence in Zhang Chen. What surprised them was that Bai Ziyu was like this quickly. I will challenge Zhang Chen. You know, Yejin Wu, Sun Tianji, and Gu Senluo, who also obtained the Hedeo immortal seed, have been in seclusion since their return. Apparently they are studying the evil immortal way in the Hedeo immortal seed. Law. Could it be that Bai Ziyu, like Zhang Chen, has already resolved the evil immortal Taoist method infected by the fairy seed? Not likely. Zhang Chen shook his head. Even he who had personally comprehended and even deduced the evil immortal system took several months to transform the evil immortal way. It is impossible for the 10th ancestral land to solve the evil immortal way so quickly. Law. Unless, it is the 10th ancestral land, colluding with the evil clan outside the sky. Of course, this possibility is even smaller. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon section author, 10 miles. Chapter 134. If it weren't for the evil immortal law that resolved the Hedeo immortal seed, there would be only one possibility. The old man of the 9 demons, the Lord of Heaven and other ancestor giants looked at each other and understood the meaning in each other's eyes. Bai Ziyu has not fused the immortal species. Only in this way can Bai Ziyu come out of seclusion so quickly and challenge Zhang Chen. It seems that the foundation of the 10th ancestral land is still a bit lacking. Venerable Zhan Tian spoke. Among the 9 ancestral lands, only the 10th ancestral land replaced the former 4th ancestral land. The other 8 ancestral lands have existed since ancient times and have amazing historical heritage. Perhaps in terms of combat power, the 10th ancestral land, the ancestral land, is not weaker than other ancestral lands. But in terms of foundation, the 10th ancestral land seems to lag behind. Otherwise, Bai Ziyu would not give up such a great opportunity as the Hedeo immortal seed. I didn't see Yejin Wu, Sun Tianji, the 3 descendants of Gesen Luo. There is no news at all. The 3 great lineages are obviously trying to find ways to resolve the evil immortal Taoism of the Hedeo immortal seed. There will be a battle sooner or later. It's a good thing that he challenges it alone. Zhang Chen's face showed a smile. If it were under normal circumstances, the other 3 avenues would definitely not stand idly by. Just like during the 10,000 Immortals conference, he, who was the weakest in cultivation, was regarded as a soft persimmon. But now, Yejin Wu and the other 3 were obviously fusing immortal species, so naturally they couldn't be distracted. For Zhang Chen, this was a great opportunity without any worries. This time, he must seize Bai Ziyu's imperial seal. The first ancestral land. In an ancient fairy palace surrounded by 5-color fairy lights. Bai Ziyu challenges Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen still accepted the challenge. Yejin Wu, whose whole body was filled with thousands of colorful rays of light, was slightly startled after hearing the news. Could it be that Bai Ziyu and Zhang Chen have already resolved the evil immortal Taoism contaminated by the immortal seed? Is this possible? Even if he is the ancient ancestor of the ancestral land personally took action. The 5 elements harmony Tao seed he obtained has only reduced half of the evil immortal Taoism. It will take at least several months to completely dispel it. The situation of Taisha demon sect is not very clear. But the 10th ancestral land seems to have given up on fusing immortal species. An old voice replied respectfully. Give up. Yejin Wu raised his eyebrows slightly. Although the 10th ancestral land rose later, its background is somewhat lacking. But the ancient ancestor of the 10th ancestral land was also a branch giant of the ancient immortal court in the past. The Hedeo immortal seed is related to the breakthrough of the ancestral realm. It's impossible not to know. Now, with such a great opportunity right in front of him, Bai Ziyu has given up. No matter how you think about it, this seems impossible. That's fine. Let you fight to the death first. When I fuse the immortal seeds, I will catch them all in one fell swoop. After pondering for a long time, Yejin came to his senses and no longer wasted time on this issue. Although the fusion of immortal seeds cannot allow him to rush into the realm of immortality now, his combat power will definitely undergo a huge transformation. By then, it will not be difficult to suppress Baiziu and Zhang Chen. And when Baiziu and Zhang Chen are able to obtain the imperial seals, then only Sun Tianji from the heaven realm and Gu Senluo from the nether realm will be left. Naturally, the Emperor's forbidden land in the immortal realm and the Yin-Yang life and death tower in the nether realm had heard the news. The two great avenues were surprised, but there was no movement at all. While they were seizing the time to purify the evil magic of fairy seeds, they were watching in the dark. The weather luck will come in half a month. If they can purify and fuse the immortal seeds during this period, they will be able to make a profit. Half a month passed quickly under the attention of all the heavens and all realms. Boom! Tao Domain. Above a vast sea, a bright and dazzling fairy light suddenly fell from the sky. In an instant, most of the sea area was transformed into a fairyland, like a fairyland outside the world. In the sea area, after countless sea beasts were illuminated by the fairy light, their auras surged crazily. Immediately afterwards, the originally calm and peaceful sea area became turbulent and magnificent. Countless sea beasts were fighting in that sea area, competing for the dazzling fairy light. Tisk. At this time, with that sea area as the center, the void in all directions began to tremble. There is a 9-star teleportation array that spans the star fields in the sky. There is an ancient warship, shining with immortal light, covering the sky and the sun. There is a bronze fairy sword, stained with the blood of fairy spirits, and its murderous intent disturbs the world. There is a divine bird and auspicious beast, tearing apart the heavens. Taoism, coming across the sky. The top Taoist traditions from all over the world appeared one after another, exerting pressure on the world. Even the 9 ancestral lands, which are basically not involved in the worldly world on weekdays, are visited by giants. It is conceivable that the battle between Zhang Chen and Baiziu caused such shocking turmoil. Call out. A flash of fairy light. A pure-blooded Luan bird came out of the sky. Above the Luan bird, a tall figure surrounded by fairy light stood with arms around each other, looking proudly at the sky. This person is none other than the 10th ancestral descendant, Baiziu. Sure enough, there is no fusion fairy species. The 10th ancestral land, what do you want to do? At the moment Baiziu arrived, the first ancestral land, the imperial forbidden land, the Yin-Yang life and death tower and other Taoist traditions were all perceived with concentration. When they saw that Baiziu was indeed as rumored and did not integrate the immortal species, many elders and giants were moved. For those who looking at the probing eyes, Baiziu didn't care and waited quietly. Not long after, a cross-domain portal appeared in the void. A tall figure in white clothes like snow appeared from the portal. The person who came was naturally Zhang Chen is gone. 9th level of Quasi-Emperor realm. Sure enough, his cultivation level broke through again. There were a lot of discussions about Baiziu's first ancestral land, the Emperor's forbidden land and other overlord sects. It has only been more than 4 months since the 10,000 Immortals Conference manifested. Zhang Chen's cultivation has changed from the 5th level of the Quasi-Emperor realm, he entered the 9th level of the Quasi-Emperor realm. This is almost a month, the speed of breaking through the first level. In the Imperial realm, there is such a breakthrough speed, which shows that Zhang Chen's qualifications are monster. Of course, let the first ancestor what the earth and other Taoist traditions care more about is that Zhang Chen's Taoism fluctuations already have the aura of the immortal seed. This means that Zhang Chen has integrated the immortal seed. Such extreme speed naturally makes those top Taoist traditions he felt horrified. Even if Zhang Chen got help from the immortal palace, he wouldn't be able to do it so quickly. He would have to integrate the immortal seeds. During the 10,000 Immortals Conference, there was no winner or loser. Today you and I are here to settle the matter. Baiziu looked at Zhang Chen, and with a movement of his right hand, an ancient seal as big as a palm appeared in his hand. On the ancient seal, there were ancient immortal characters imprinted on it, faintly flashing immortal patterns, and containing the supreme Taoist law. It was clearly the ancient immortal court. One of the 5 imperial seals. As you wish. Zhang Chen flicked his fingers, and the immortal court emperor seal he obtained also appeared. Whoops! Seeing this, Bai Ziu took a step forward and broke into the barrier on the sea. Zhang Chen did not hesitate, and his figure flashed and escaped into the air. Entering. The two of them were hundreds of feet apart, confronting each other in the distance, with cold murderous intentions, colliding in the void. Except for the two of them, no other young prodigy who came dared to enter the sea boundary. Even the group of innate weather luck, in the center of that sea area, no one dares to go there. Because Zhang Chen and Bai Ziu's murderous intention is really terrifying. If they break in, they will be killed in an instant. I don't know who can win this battle. Even those ancient giants were staring at it with great expectation. One is the ancient genius who has been sealed since ancient times. One is a top genius who has risen strongly and is unrivaled in this world. It can be said that the collision between the two of them represents the collision of two eras. This battle will inevitably affect the pattern of all heavens and realms. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 135. On the Vast Sea. Two terrifying murderous intentions that could shatter the entire world collided between heaven and earth. The void twisted, the waves shook, the Taoism shattered, and the entire sky was filled with turbulence. The sea beasts that were fighting crazily, with blood staining most of the sea area, suddenly escaped into the seabed. The terrifying murderous intent was like a flash flood that was about to erupt, or a tsunami that was about to explode. Naturally, those sea beasts that had already channeled spirits did not dare to stay any longer and immediately escaped to the bottom of the sea. Since ancient times, there has been a theory that the great form of chaos can suppress the heavens. Today, I am here to learn whether the rumored chaos body is that terrifying. After a few breaths of confrontation, mysterious and dazzling ancient dragon patterns appeared all over Bai Ziu's body. A vast and unparalleled dragon power radiated from Bai Ziu's body. If you look closely, you can even see, among the dragon patterns on Bai Ziu's body, there are dragon scales growing out of his flesh and blood. Bai Ziu's aura has also undergone a huge transformation, and his killing power has increased several times. Dragon patterns are all over the body, and dragon scales are born. This is the body of a true dragon. Are the descendants of the 10th ancestral land still descendants of true dragons? The strangeness on Bai Ziu's body naturally attracted the attention of countless creatures immediately. Apart from the 10,000 Immortals Conference, this was the first time Bai Ziu showed his dragon scales in front of everyone. This is normal. After all, since Bai Ziu entered the world, he has never met anyone who can give him all his strength. Wrong. It is impossible for him to take the path of a true dragon body. However, those ancient giants have seen the clues. Other forces don't know it, but those top Taoists know it. Bai Ziu has the rumored innate Qian Huang body. Although the true dragon body is powerful, but it is also impossible for Bai Ziu to give up his innate Qian Huang body. After tempering the physical body with the innate black and yellow energy, can you cultivate the body of a true dragon? Zhang Chen, who was surrounded by chaos and stood in the sky, had double pupils in his eyes, knowing the source. Strictly speaking, Bai Ziu's current physique can be regarded as the body of a true dragon. In other words, it is the body of a true dragon. The superposition of the innate Qian Huang body. Either one of these two physiques has shocking and extraordinary qualifications. After the two are superimposed, it is impossible to predict how far his qualifications have reached. Once this Bai Ziu no longer suppressed, after entering the fairyland, I am afraid that he will soar into the sky. Boom. While Zhang Chen was sizing him up, Bai Ziu took a step forward. The dragon energy surged under his feet, and the vast energy and blood were like the sea. He was like a real dragon flying across the sky, with overwhelming pressure. Shocking billions of living beings. Oh, attack and kill with pure physical combat power. Bai Ziu's actions moved countless giants of the older generation. He had no Taoist methods, no supernatural powers, and no heavenly skills. He just fought with his physical body and blood. Such a situation was beyond the expectations of hundreds of millions of living beings. Could it be that Bai Ziu wanted to fighting against Zhang Chen's chaotic body with his physical strength? Oh! Zhang Chen didn't dodge this at all, and faced him head-on. When he rushed out, there was chaotic fairy light permeating the pores of Zhang Chen's body. At a glance, Zhang Chen's whole person felt like he was in endless chaos. Huh! The chaotic body of Taisha Demonza seems to have changed again. At this moment, some powerful elders showed strong expressions of shock. From the chaotic energy on Zhang Chen's body, they felt traces of the original energy of the world. It was as if there was a mysterious world within Zhang Chen's body. As if being born. World Tree Seedling. The three great systems of the first ancestral land, the imperial forbidden land, and the yin-yang tower of life and death immediately understood. It seems that Zhang Chen's victory over the World Tree Seedlings at the 10,000 Immortals Conference was not a lie. There is no doubt that, this will definitely be an added advantage for Zhang Chen. Regardless of his qualifications or combat power, he is afraid that there will be life and death changes. Boom! While countless forces are discussing it, Zhang Chen and Bai Ziu have already met fiercely. There was an earth-shattering bombing sound. A stream of terrifying Taoist impact energy swept in unscrupulously, causing chaos in the world. The two of them, one surrounded by chaos, the other boiling with dragon energy, both were monsters and inhuman. Bang bang. Bang. After fighting each other, there was no winner. The two immediately changed places and started fighting ferociously above the sea. Every attack was enough to shatter the ancient star of life and make the star field full of energy. It's subversion. In this vast sea area, there are hundreds of millions of waves rolling into the sky, shaking the sky. If it weren't for the coming of God's law, this sea area turned into a fairy light barrier. I'm afraid, it would be hundreds of millions of miles away. Heaven and earth will be affected and may be annihilated. What a speed! As the killing became more fierce, Zhang Chen and Bai Ziu's fight became faster and faster. In the end, everyone could only see two rays of light colliding and fighting everywhere above the sea. Their bodies, it was completely impossible to see clearly. Even the creatures at the level of true immortals had to concentrate to see clearly the attack of the two people. This also made countless young geniuses feel scared and turned pale. If they were involved, if you go in, you will be wiped out in an instant. It is a great tragedy to live in the same era as such monsters. Taisha Devil understands the true meaning of time and space, and can be invincible innately. Those immortal beings couldn't help but sigh. As a descendant of the 10th ancestral land, Bai Ziu naturally has extraordinary secret skills. What he is using now is the famous escape method in the ancient immortal era, heaven and earth. Thread. This secret technique, as the name suggests, can turn the world into a thin line, becoming the fastest method in the world. But unfortunately, this is extremely restrained in the face of Zhang Chen's time and space method. No matter Bai Ziu, no matter how fast his body is, he will be deeply affected if he touches Zhang Chen's space-time domain. Fortunately, Bai Ziu's cultivation has reached the 9th level of the Great Emperor realm, which is a big level higher than Zhang Chen's. If he were in the same realm, Bai Ziu, I'm afraid he will be defeated early. The way of time and space is indeed one of the most mysterious ways among all the ways in the world. One is powerful in cultivation, and the other is invincible in Taoism. If the two fight against each other based on their physical strength, there is no way to tell the winner. Those ancient giants came to this conclusion. After such ferocious fighting, Zhang Chen and Bai Ziu's breath remained as usual without any weakening. This is enough to show how strong their physiques have become. A terrifying situation. Even if they continue to fight, with their strong bodies, it will be difficult to distinguish between strong and weak. It's a pity that Taisha demons still suffered the disadvantage of being young. There are also ancient giants who said this. The innate Xian Huang body is not known for its physical strength. Bai Ziu's body can reach such a powerful level. It is because it has been sealed by the innate Xian Huang for countless years. Qi tempering. On the contrary, Zhang Chen has less than 20 thoughts in his cultivation so far, and his chaos body is far from perfect. In addition, there is a huge gap in the cultivation of the two that is insurmountable. Such a comparison below, you can see how terrifying the chaos divine body is. If the two are at the same level, Bai Ziu's innate Xian Huang body will definitely not be able to fight against the chaos body. Of course, whether it is a sky-high price competition or a battle between monks, the competition has always been all our existing combat capabilities. But if, these are just false words. Regardless of the reason, the current combat power is real. Boom. After another loud rumbling sound, the two people, as fast as lightning, faced each other across the air again. The genius of ancient times, the cultivation of the great emperor. Zhang Chen, surrounded by chaos, stood high in the sky and looked at Bai Ziu. Is this all you have? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 136. Your chaos divine body indeed has unparalleled combat power. However, it cannot be said to be invincible. It's better not to be too arrogant. Hearing Zhang Chen's words, Bai Ziu raised his eyelids slightly and spoke indifferently. After the previous killings, Bai Ziu also roughly figured out Zhang Chen's combat power. Although he didn't want to admit it, Zhang Chen's qualifications were indeed not weaker than him. If they were born in the same era, Zhang Chen would probably be able to overpower him. There is never an invincible physique in this world. Some are just invincible people. When Zhang Chen heard this, a smile appeared on his face. Boom. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Chen's whole aura suddenly changed, and Zhou Taoism all shook with it. In an instant, Zhang Chen's aura surged. More than 10 times, billions of wind and clouds roared. One of the 9 ancient secrets, all secrets. This technique can comprehensively increase the combat power 10 times, and set foot in the rumored Forbidden Realm. After obtaining such a secret technique, Zhang Chen almost it was not used much. Because in the Battle of Tianjiao at the same level, there is no need for this taboo secret technique. When the Zhuzi secret was triggered, an unparalleled terrifying Taoist technique appeared on Zhang Chen, straight into the sky, shaking the sky. Earth. The way of the heavenly emperor. Zhang Chen, standing in the air, seems to be here, transformed into a supreme heavenly emperor looking down on the heavens. All living beings are as insignificant as ants in front of the heavenly emperor, and they feel a sense of surrender in their hearts. This is Zhang Chen. Chen created the truly invincible method after integrating the origin of immortality with the method of the Emperor of Heaven. This pressure. Bai Ziu, who was facing Zhang Chen, felt as if he had fallen into an endless ice cave at this moment, and his whole body was as cold as bones. An indescribable sense of crisis emerged in Bai Ziu's heart, and he couldn't suppress it no matter what. Although Bai Ziu knew that Zhang Chen had not taken action with all his strength before. But he still didn't expect that Zhang Chen's combat power was so terrifying. During the 10,000 Immortals conference in the ancient Immortal era, Zhang Chen was far from being so terrifying. In just a few months, such a huge transformation has occurred. So strong. This Taisha demon son. Countless forces outside the sea boundary were also shocked and discolored, unable to calm down. Zhang Chen's power was already clearly recognized by the Taoist traditions of all heavens and realms during the battles in the ancient immortal city, the ancient Yuan immortal realm, and the celestial immortal Taoist palace. However, it is not an exaggeration to say that those three famous battles were completely different from what they are now. Such a vast world-shaking power is probably difficult to rival even in the imperial realm. Zhang Chen is destined to reach the pinnacle of this era. Is the power of Hedeo immortal seed so terrifying? In the 10th ancestral land, there is an ancestor-level giant with a solemn expression. This is the first time since their arrival that they have such a big change in their expressions. Obviously, they who originally had absolute confidence in Bai Ziu can't help but worry. Get up. While they were worried, they were also gaining insight into the source of Zhang Chen's powerful strength. With just his cultivation, from the 5th level of the Quasi-Emperor realm to the 9th level of the Quasi-Emperor realm, his combat power could not change like this. Then there is only one way it's possible. The fusion of the world tree seedlings. Zhang Chen's power is definitely closely related to the fusion of the world tree seedlings. Those who are aware of this include the first ancestral land, the imperial forbidden land, and the yin-yang life and death tower. After Zhang Chen's transformation, they became more and more determined to purify the seeds of Hedeo. When other Taoist traditions were shocked and frightened, the Taisha demon sect, the ancient heavenly court, and the 5th ancestral land could not hide their excitement. Zhang Chen became more and more excited. The more powerful they are, the greater the joy will naturally be for them. It seems that there is no need to worry. On the 9 sky void, 2 human figures were hidden in the void, and no one noticed them. Has the way of the Emperor of Heaven been truly deduced? Chen Yanran, who was wearing ethereal immortal clothes and had beautiful features, whispered to herself. Chen Yanran is a being who has survived since the early days of the immortal ancient period. Naturally, she knows the way of the Emperor of Heaven. I originally thought that since she pioneered the way of the Emperor of Heaven in the past, after the death of the Master, this way will completely decline. Unexpectedly, Zhang Chen would not only pass it down, but also completely perfect and deduce it. It is true that now that evil immortals have become legends, they can still deduce the evil spirits of the evil immortal system. Let's go. After that, Chen Yanran didn't stay anymore. She waved her sleeves and disappeared in an instant. Chen Sui looked at Zhang Chen curiously and then left. Now she finally understood why her senior sister valued Zhang Chen so much in this world. There are really proud people. On the sea. Now that the crisis of Wanyu is looming, I don't want Wanyu to lose a peerless genius. Zhang Chen, who stood in the sky with overwhelming power, looked at Bai Ziu, who was facing a formidable enemy. Regardless of his qualifications or cultivation level, Bai Ziu is rare among the younger generation. If not for waiting for the inheritance of the immortal court, Bai Ziu's current achievements are probably that he has entered the ranks of giants. This is definitely not an exaggeration. Countless epochs have passed, and Lord Zhantian can still remember him clearly, which is enough to explain Bai Ziu's monster. If he can be accepted as a follower, this for Zhang Chen to explain, it will naturally be a great help. Do you think you will win? Bai Ziu could naturally hear the meaning of Zhang Chen's words. This also made Bai Ziu feel a huge sense of anger and humiliation in his heart, and his eyes were faintly red. He was actually being underestimated like this. He is the descendant of the 10th ancestral land. He also possesses an innate Xian Huang body, and he has merged with the soul of a true dragon and cultivated the body of a true dragon. He should have been proud of the eternity and stepped through the extreme realm of cultivation, but now he is. Have you underestimated me? Unblock. Immediately, Bai Ziu shouted and took action, forming ancient marks on his hands. Mysterious ancient lines spread from the center of Bai Ziu's eyebrows. Hold head high. The next moment, a deafening and shocking dragon roar resounded, shocking hundreds of millions of living beings. Above Baiziu's head, there was an innate dragon energy rising up, turning into a supreme true dragon, looking proudly at the sky. Obviously, that the supreme true dragon is Baiziu. The fused true dragon spirit has unparalleled dragon power. After the true dragon spirit was unsealed, Baiziu's power skyrocketed like a volcanic eruption. With him as the center, the void was distorted and vibrating, and it seemed that it was difficult to bear the terrifying power. That real dragon wouldn't have the blood of the ancestral dragon, would it? Outside the sea boundary, even many immortal creatures at the true immortal level are a little awe-inspiring. The source of their awe is not Baiziu, but the spirit of the true dragon. The true dragon clan has, since ancient times, it is one of the most powerful innate creatures in the world. Although the true dragon has almost become a legend since the great change of heaven and earth, this does not hinder the power of the true dragon clan. The true dragon that Baiziu fused will probably become a true dragon in the future. All members of this clan have extraordinary bloodlines. Kill. After unsealing the dragon spirit, Baiziu crossed the void and appeared in front of Zhang Chen. A vast and unparalleled killing intent, as if the sky was collapsing, and with an unstoppable destructive trend, he blasted towards Zhang Chen. Go. It can be said that Baiziu's combat power at this time has reached the limit of the Imperial Realm. If he takes another step forward, he can touch the Immortal Realm. Being able to cross the gap between the Imperial Realm and the Immortal Realm, you can see how terrifying that dragon spirit is. Emperor Fist. Defeat. Zhang Chen didn't make any extra moves in response to this. He directly swung his fist and blasted towards Baiziu. This punch contained the invincible way, like an unparalleled emperor, coming out of the sky to suppress it. Boom. Under the gaze of countless eyes, Zhang Chen and Baiziu collided in an instant. Immediately, the whole world was like a volcano erupting, shaking violently. There were even clearly visible chaotic cracks, like spider webs, sweeping in all directions. Poof. But then, a figure suddenly flew out like a kite with its string broken. Golden divine blood scattered from the void, dyeing the sea area into pale gold. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 137. That is. Seeing someone vomiting blood and flying upside down, the hundreds of millions of Taoist lineages who gathered there all stared at him. The 10th ancestral land. Baiziu. In an instant, the person who was hit hard and sent flying was captured by everyone. At this moment, the whole world became quiet, and you could hear a needle drop. To be honest, when Zhang Chen demonstrated the way of the Heavenly Emperor, countless Taoists had anticipated this scene. However, when Baiziu was truly defeated, those top cultivators were still extremely shocked. Who is Baiziu? The genius of ancient times. The great emperor's peak. Integrated with dragon spirit. Innate Xian Huang body. Any one of these is enough to dominate a lifetime and make hundreds of millions of peers unable to hold their heads up. Baiziu gathered them all into one body, but he still lost to Zhang Chen. How can this not be shocking? You must know that Baiziu, who was unsealed by Long Ling, has terrifying fighting power, which is feared by all immortal beings. Under the true immortal, Taishu Demon Son is truly invincible. Those ancient giants came up with this idea. Even they were shocked by Zhang Chen's peerless fighting power. After living for a long time, they have seen countless geniuses and evildoers. But, they have never seen a monster like Zhang Chen. That's right. In their eyes, Zhang Chen is no longer a genius, but a real monster. Even at the beginning, Taishu, who was famous in all the worlds, demon ancestors are far less talented than Zhang Chen. The way of the Emperor. When he sets foot on the great Emperor's peak, I'm afraid he will be able to leap to the realm and defeat immortals. The giants of the first ancestral land, the Emperor's forbidden land in the immortal realm, and the yin-yang life and death tower in the nether realm stood silently. They thought of the heirs of their respective traditions. Although the qualifications and cultivation of Yejin Wuo, Sun Tianji, and Gu Senluo, none of them are weaker than Bai Ziyu. But what's the use? The real opponent of the three of them is not Bai Ziyu, but Zhang Chen. At the 9th level of the quasi-emperor realm, Zhang Chen can rely on the way of the heavenly emperor to jump to the realm to suppress Bai Ziyu at the great emperor's peak. It is very possible that when Zhang Chen sets foot in the great emperor's realm, he will go against all odds and defeat the immortals. At that time, how will the heirs of the three great traditions compete with Zhang Chen? In other words, how can they compete with Zhang Chen? Can you compete? The only chance is the Hedeo immortal seed. The three overlords all came up with such thoughts. In addition to comprehending the way of the heavenly emperor, Zhang Chen's tremendous fighting power is also due to the saplings of the world tree. If the heirs of the three overlords can set foot in front of the great emperor before Zhang Chen, integrating the seeds of immortality, then, maybe there is still a chance to compete. Otherwise, their plan of sealing it for countless years and deliberately unsealing it in this life will collapse. Too strong. In the fifth ancestral land, Tianwu, Zhang and other ancestral land geniuses who had been defeated by Zhang Chen were all shocked. Since they lost the inheritance battle in the ancestral land, they worked hard to catch up. Zhang Chen. But now this battle has given them a blow. The gap between them and Zhang Chen is not a simple difference in talent and cultivation. The two are not in the same dimension at all. Yan'er, Yuan Tian, and Zhou Wuxiang, Zhan Invincible, Bailey Fixian, Heavenly Court's 10 Great Orders and other followers are as proud as Yurong. The stronger Zhang Chen is, the more they naturally look forward to it. As for Zhang Lingzi, Xia Yuantian, Qing Taming, and others, they are shocked. Yu, on the other hand, felt regret in his heart. Zhang Chen also asked them to follow him at first, but they relied on their talent and did not agree. Now, not to mention Zhang Chen, Zhan Wudi, and others who follow Zhang Chen, we can only look up. With just one thought, the current situation is already completely different. And in the future, this gap will become wider and wider. Boom. While countless creatures in the outside world are discussing it, an earth-shattering power breaks out above the sea. I saw that the aura of Bai Ziyu, who was hit hard and flew away, had been completely healed. He stood up in the air, his body covered with dragon scales, and the fighting intent in his eyes seemed to be burning like divine flames. It could be clearly felt, Bai Ziyu's momentum is getting higher and higher. This makes the Taoism in the world outside the sea area and all the worlds are quite moved. Could it be that under this situation, Bai Ziyu still has a trump card to make a comeback? The scent of fairy seed. What happened? Didn't he integrate the immortal species? Those ancient giants sensed it one after another and were extremely surprised. Because Bai Ziyu's body actually had fluctuations in the Hedeo immortal seed at this time. Such a change was something they had never thought of. Do you want to use the calamity of life and death to forcibly walk the path of immortality? The expression of the ancestor giant of the 10th ancestral land changed continuously, and he couldn't help but want to stop him. The path Bai Ziyu is taking now is just a concept. Whether it can succeed is still unclear. More importantly, unfortunately, once it fails, even the great Luo immortal cannot save Bai Ziyu. In other words, Bai Ziyu embarks on a road of life or death. This is his way, and interfering with it will only be counterproductive. But at this time, a disembodied voice reached the ears of the ancestors of the 10th ancestral land. The giants of the 10th ancestral land were all horrified and stopped immediately. Because the person who conveyed the message was their ancestor. The ancient ancestor of the earth. Quite courageous. Zhang Chen, who was as powerful as the Emperor of Heaven came to the world, had double pupils in his eyes. He saw the origin of the immortal seeds in Bai Ziyu. Bai Xiu had not fused. He plundered them at the 10,000 Immortals Conference. Hedeo Immortal Seed. Instead, he uses the spirit of the true dragon as his own immortal seed. Theoretically speaking, all living things in the world can be transformed into immortal seeds. However, the immortal seeds derived the day after tomorrow are far away. It cannot be compared with the immortal seeds born in nature. Even the two are completely different. This is why the path of immortal seeds is completely cut off from future generations. Because the immortal seeds derived the day after tomorrow are not as good as in the later life, he condensed the path of Tao fruit and transformed into an immortal. Now, Bai Xiu actually wants to use the spirit of a true dragon to evolve into his own immortal species. And he is still in this life and death fight? Such a move is undoubtedly a bet on his own life. Life can be said to be courageous. Bai Xiu really spent a lot of money to deal with him. Kill. While the true dragon spirit was constantly transforming into immortal species, Bai Xiu, whose momentum surged, once again shot out of the sky. This time, behind Bai Xiu, there was even a dragon court manifested, with countless dragon clans emerging. Such unparalleled the killing power is several levels more tyrannical than before. Although it is not as good as the real immortal creatures, it is also completely beyond the boundaries of the imperial realm. Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way. With the thought in Zhang Chen's mind, the chaotic world appeared. Immediately, the three majestic ancestral shamans were integrated into the body. Before, Zhang Chen only used the power of the fused world tree seedlings. Now, Zhang Chen is the one he really moved his true character. Boom. After merging with the ancestral witchcraft, Zhang Chen's figure swayed and instantly escaped to Bai Xiu. The Heavenly Emperor's fist blasted out again. The billions of Dharma in the entire world were pulled away. At a glance, an invisible huge whirlpool appeared with Zhang Chen's attack as the center. And Bai Xiu, who was attacking, was right in the center of the huge whirlpool. This made Bai Xiu unable to avoid, he could only face him head-on. Click. The next moment, Zhang Chen, who was blasted out with the power of heaven and earth, collided with Bai Xiu who was coming to kill him. At the moment of contact, there was a clearly audible sound of broken bones. Bai Xiu once again, you vomited blood and flew backwards. This time, he made seals with his hands, and they exploded inch by inch. It was like being hit by a wild beast, and he almost died. It's over. Countless giants of the older generation couldn't help but shake their heads. If things were normal, Bai Xiu's trump card of using the dragon spirit to transform into an immortal species would indeed be enough to make him come back. But it's a pity that he happened to encounter Zhang Chen, who had countless killing moves in his body. Of course, those older giants could see that Zhang Chen's final killing was obviously with the help of external forces. However, whether it was external forces or one's own cultivation, as long as they could control it, it was their own combat power. Zhang Chen and Bai Xiu, their cultivation levels are inherently unequal, so Zhang Chen is still not allowed to rely on external help. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 138. Aha! When Bai Xiu was hit hard with a punch and sent flying, Zhang Chen crossed the void to pursue him. The Heavenly Emperor's fist came out again, and billions of Tao Dharma condensed into one point, pulling the entire heaven and earth into motion. Regardless of the attack just now, Bai Xiu's hands were almost destroyed. But in the short period of time he flew backwards, his hands had already evolved again. It was obvious that Bai Xiu had mastered the extremely terrifying holy method of healing, which could heal injuries instantly. Boom! Of course, under Zhang Chen's attack, half of Bai Xiu's body, which had just recovered from his injuries, was blown apart. Golden divine blood scattered from the void, making the sea area that was still rolling violently become even more golden. This scene made it difficult for the giants of the 10th ancestral land to calm down. Those golden divine blood were derived from Baiziu's innate black and yellow energy, which had been tempered for countless years. It can be said that that is Baiziu's origin. Now that it was scattered like this, how could it not make them sad? After this battle, even if Baiziu does not die, his vitality will definitely be severely damaged. However, Guziu never issued an order, so they could only watch helplessly and could not help. What happened? Seeing Zhang Chen keep attacking, Baiziu was beaten and severely injured, but he never made a fatal move. Countless Taoists outside the sea area were quite confused. With Zhang Chen's fighting power, he wants to kill the current Baiziu, it shouldn't be difficult. Then why hasn't he killed him? Could it be that Zhang Chen was bullying Baiziu on purpose? That dragon garden. The ancestor giant of the first ancestral land, the emperor's forbidden land, and the yin-yang tower of life and death, had twinkling eyes. Baiziu seems to be in despair and may be killed at any time. But in fact, Baiziu had entered an extremely strange state at this time. The terrifying killing intent that Zhang Chen unleashed was all absorbed by the mysterious dragon court behind Baiziu. This also made the ancestor giants quite curious about the mysterious dragon court. They felt that there was a big secret hidden in the mysterious dragon court, which was extraordinary. He actually succeeded. The 9-demon old man, the lord of the heavenly court, the 12 ancestors and other giants of the ancestors also stared at it. After Zhang Chen dissolved the immortal method of the Hedeo immortal seed, they each chose an immortal seed. The Hedeo immortal seed's the aura is far superior to that of the ancestor giants in the first ancestral land, the imperial forbidden land. The mysterious dragon court behind Baiziu should be the immortal seed derived from Baiziu. About there. After punching Baiziu to pieces again, Zhang Chen's eyes were filled with heavy pupils, and billions of divine patterns intertwined and flickered. The reason why Baiziu was never killed by Zhang Chen was because the mysterious dragon court could withstand the killing. And there is another important reason, that is, Zhang Chen did not kill him. Zhang Chen seemed to beat Baiziu to death every time, but he always left him a glimmer of hope. Such actions were naturally intended to kill Baiziu. The potential of Baiziu is pushed to the limit. Because this will make Baiziu's original luck reach its peak limit. You know, Baiziu's luck is so strong, but Zhang Chen's luck and fate are all limited. Reflected. Give you one last chance, surrender to me, and I will spare your life. Zhang Chen didn't take any further action against Baiziu, who healed quickly and said, "Ha, you make it sound like you can kill me at any time." Baiziu grinned. Although his face was pale, the look in his eyes did not waver at all. Then hit the road. Zhang Chen heard that there were chaotic Dao patterns permeating the right fist, faintly exuding a prehistoric aura. In a daze, Zhang Chen's right fist seemed to turn into a scorching sun, shining with bright fairy light. Boom! The next moment, in Baiziu's dull eyes, billions of chaotic fairy lights burst out. Whoa! Almost instantly, mysterious fairy lights appeared all over Baiziu. As soon as the fairy lights flickered, they broke through the void and brought Baiziu with him. Just leave. The destructive power that Zhang Chen unleashed was in vain. Did Guziu take action? Zhang Chen put his hands back and stood with a calm expression, not too surprised. However, on Zhang Chen's right hand, there was an extra ancient order. It turned out to be the immortal emperor's seal. In addition, Baiziu's part, the origin and luck, were also plundered by the system. When Baiziu was continuously beaten up before, Zhang Chen continued to plunder the origin and destiny. Although he failed to harvest all the wool, Zhang Chen also gained a lot. Emperor seal and origin, all your luck is at your fingertips. Did the ancient ancestor of the 10th ancestral land take action? Only the supreme ancestor can save people under the pressure of God. Seeing Baiziu disappear, countless creatures outside the sea boundary are all talking about it. For this result, the top Taoists are not too surprised. After all, Bai is an ancient genius and a member of the 10th ancestral land. Successor. Even if the fight for the successor to the immortal court fails, the 10th ancestral land will not watch and let him die like that. Of course, it is one thing not to be surprised, but the result of this battle still caused a huge uproar. You know, when Bai first entered the world, his reputation was even louder than that of Zhang Chen. He was an ancient genius, a peak emperor, and had an innate black and yellow body. In addition to his physical constitution, Bai Ziu's other aspects, they all far surpass Zhang Chen. This is also the reason why countless Taoists are more optimistic about Bai Ziu. But what happened? Zhang Chen declared to the world with his invincible combat power that no one can shake his status as the number one in all domains. Bai Ziu can't do it? Yejin Wuo, Sun Tianji, Gu Senluo, I'm afraid they are not as good as Zhang Chen. Oh. Zhang Chen ignored the noise outside the sea area. After putting away the immortal court emperor's seal, he stepped out and reached the depths of the sea area. The innate air luck was put away. Boom. And just when Zhang Chen was about to leave the sea, vast immortal power descended from the 9 heavens. Immediately afterwards, endless bright immortal light fell from the sky, shining on the land for hundreds of millions of miles. Waiting for the endless immortals in the light, a majestic and mysterious supreme immortal court was clearly revealed. At this moment, all the creatures in the Xianhuang world clearly sensed the boundless immortal power. Ancient, immortal court. Beyond the sea area, the hundreds of millions of creatures that were originally noisy all looked up and stayed in a daze. The majestic fairy court that descended was the ancient fairy court that shocked the world and unified the fairy land in the past. Is it because of Taisha Demonzi again? The expression of the ancestor-level giant of the first ancestral land changed. This is the ancient immortal court, manifested for the second time. The first time was on the ancient battlefield in the Tianyu, when the ancient immortal court showed up and taught Zhang Chen the magic. This time, it is no longer just a corner, but the whole thing is directly revealed. How can this not make the giants of the first ancestral land, the forbidden land of the emperor, and the yin-yang tower of life and death moved? The heirs of their Taoism became the heirs of the immortal court. It has been several epochs. But the ancient immortal court has never appeared from the beginning to the end. On the other hand, when Zhang Chen was in the supreme realm, the ancient immortal court passed down the law. Now in the quasi-emperor realm, the ancient immortal court has manifested itself again. This such an appearance even gave those ancestors and giants a strong premonition. That is Zhang Chen. Could it be that Zhang Chen has long been designated as the successor by the ancient immortal court? Otherwise, why would the ancient immortal court treat Zhang Chen so much? What about such special care? Guxianting. Zhang Chen also raised his head and looked at the entire manifested ancient immortal court. Billions of bright fairy lights have been hanging down from the ancient fairy court, like thousands of willow branches fluttering. In the depths of the ancient fairy court filled with mysterious fairy light, there are countless fairy birds and beasts such as Zilong, Xianhuang, Tianlin, Zuyan, Kunpeng, Suanwuo, Qianqi, etc. looming. It seems that in the ancient fairy court, there is a big world evolving, which is mysterious and unpredictable. Call out. When Zhang Chen looked at it, a clear fairy light fell into Zhang Chen's body in the ancient fairy court. The art of sealing immortality. What is passed down this time is another immortal technique. Judging from the name, this technique of sealing immortals seems to be passed down from the same line as the technique of killing immortals obtained before. The difference is that this is a pure technique of sealing. The technique is rather like a secret technique that assists the technique of killing immortals. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 139. Boom. After teaching Zhang Chen the art of becoming an immortal, the majestic and mysterious ancient fairy court just disappeared. That look! Zhang Chen's eyes flashed slightly. Back then in the ancient battlefield, he felt that there seemed to be mysterious eyes in the ancient fairy court. This time, the scrutiny of others became even more intense. Could it be that there are still living beings in that ancient fairy court? An existence that survived from the immortal ancient era? The weakest one is also the supreme ancestor, right? It seems that the inheritance of ancient immortal court is really about to be born. The disappearance of the ancient immortal court has also attracted the attention of countless powerful people. In the eyes of those ancient giants, the emergence of the ancient immortal court is not so much to teach Zhang Chen the immortal method, but has a greater symbolic meaning. In other words, it is in order to convey some kind of sign. Oh! After Zhang Chen came to his senses, he stepped out of the sea boundary in one step. The innate luck in his body immediately dissipated and merged into the sky. Let's go. When the nine-demon old man, the Lord of Heaven, saw this, he immediately took Zhang Chen away. After watching Zhang Chen and others disappear, the elder giants of the first ancestral land, the Emperor's Forbidden Land, and the Yin-Yang Tower of Life and Death, still look solemn. Not only does he have the fighting power to overwhelm his peers, but he has also been taught by the ancient immortal court many times. Zhang Chen, can anyone suppress 503? After looking at the three avenues, the other forces from all domains dispersed in twos and threes. Soon, the result of this battle swept through the entire world like a tornado. The name of Taisha demon son Zhang Chen is once again famous throughout the world. This time, Zhang Chen's reputation as the number one in the world is no longer doubted. There are even countless Taoists who regard Zhang Chen as the true successor of the ancient immortal court. Fairyland. The forbidden land of the Emperor. That is to say, you have also seen this battle. If that boy is no longer suppressed, the inheritance of the ancient immortal court will fall into his hands. A white-haired old man wearing an ancient robe of immortal light and an immortal spirit said. If Zhang Chen were here, he would definitely recognize him. This white-haired old man was none other than the immortal Taiyuan whom he had met at the 10,000 Immortals conference. Of course, from the ancient immortal era to the present, Xian Taiyuan's cultivation has already entered the ancestral realm. In front of Xian Taiyuan is the ancient ancestor of the imperial forbidden land, the old monk. That is, everything has its own destiny. If we, the heirs of the Taoist tradition, are no match for this boy, there is nothing we can do about it. Sun Wuxian held a Buddhist bead in his hand, his expression calm, without much disturbance. That is to say, the ancient immortal court is the orthodoxy of our immortal realm, but now it may be taken away by the Tianyu realm. Are you willing? The immortal old man spoke again. The immortal lord has never said that the inheritance of the ancient immortal court can only be fought over by people from the immortal domain. So, I suggest it's best not to take this idea. Let's not talk about it, the immortal palace has always been there with Luda. Just because the ancient immortal palace has manifested twice because of him, this child is extraordinary. Sun Wuxian's words were filled with warning. Looking at the immortal realm, there are only two forces with absolute foundation that can surpass the Changsheng immortal family. One is the immortal palace that became famous during the battle when the immortal palace was destroyed and in turmoil. There is another one, the immortal lord of the ancient immortal court who has been destroyed and cannot be seen in the world. But now, these two great traditions seem to be inextricably linked to Zhang Chen. Apart from this, even his imperial forbidden land cannot be said to be able to suppress the Changsheng immortal family. Don't worry, I came to you not to attack that kid. That means I want your imperial forbidden land to join forces with the first ancestral land and the nether realm. Xian Taiyuan naturally knew that the immortal palace had been staring at him. It was impossible to take action against Zhang Chen. But it is possible to stop Zhang Chen, collect the 5 imperial seals, and become the successor of the ancient immortal court. To be honest, since the death of Xian Wuodao, Xian Taiyuan has completely given up on being the heir of Xian Ting. However, anyone else can become a descendant of the immortal court. Only Zhang Chen couldn't do it. When he thought that Zhang Chen might establish an immortal court again, his immortal family surrendered to Zhang Chen. This made Xian Taiyuan feel awkward and uncomfortable all over. Since Bai Ziu can't suppress Zhang Chen, what about the 3 joining forces? Sun Tianji, Yejin Wuo, and Gu Senluo are all not weaker than Bai Ziu in terms of cultivation and combat power. No matter how strong Zhang Chen is, he can't fight 1 against 3, right? Furthermore, Sun Tianji and the others are trying to fuse the Hedao immortal seeds. Once successful, the combat power will definitely transform again. That means joining forces. It's possible in the underworld. With the arrogance of the first ancestral land, Yudan will join forces with other orthodoxy. Sun Wuxian was quite surprised. Since ancient times, the 9 ancestral lands have been aloof from the world and ignored the Taoism of the 10,000 realms. Only in the past, when the ancient immortal court ordered 10,000 realms, the 9 ancestral lands put down their arrogance. And in the 9 ancestral lands in the earth, the first ancestral land is the most powerful and arrogant. As far as he knows, there has never been a precedent for the first ancestral land to join forces with other orthodoxy. That is, things are different now. If it were in the past, you're emperor in a forbidden land, you won't join forces with others, right? Xian Taiyuan smiled. Sun Wuxian said that the first ancestral land is very proud, but his imperial forbidden land is not as proud. Looking at the entire world, there are only a handful of people who can be seen by the imperial forbidden land. That's it? That's true. Sun Wuxian did not refute this. There is no other reason. Zhang Chen from Taisha Demon Sect is really too evil. Since Zhang Chen can suppress Bai Ziu, it is very possible that he can also suppress Sun Tianji. For the sake of the inheritance of the ancient immortal court, Sun Tianji has been sealed until now. After paying such a huge price, his imperial forbidden land naturally did not want to give up. It seems that you already have a plan. Sun Wuxian looked at Xian Taiyuan. The meaning of his words was obviously that he agreed to join forces. When Xian Taiyuan heard this, his smile became even bigger, and he said 4 words. The immortal peak of enlightenment. The first ancestral land. In the glorious fairy palace. Is it the immortal peak of enlightenment? Is this the rumored place where Saint Ancestor Dao Yi achieved enlightenment? An old creature wearing a 5-color feathered coat had a strong look of shock in his eyes. This old creature is none other than the supreme ancestor of the first ancestral land, Ye Wenchen. That's right. I have no choice but to make some preparations so that the immortal peak of enlightenment can be born. In front of Ye Wenchen, stood a burly man carrying an ancient flaming pot, with an imposing manner that suppressed the heavens. He is also a supreme ancient ancestor giant. Moreover, it has a shocking background. One of the most powerful branches of ancient immortal court in the past, the ancient ancestor of Fenchen. That is, you want to use the immortal peak of enlightenment as bait to fish out the demon son of Taishu. Ye Wenchen soon understood the meaning of the words of Fenchen ancient ancestor. Dai. Saint Ancestor was the saint ancestor who set foot in the realm of rumors. The place where he proved his Dao, even for these ancient ancestors, was my heart is burning. Naturally, once this news spreads, it is impossible for the Taisha demon sect to sit still. That is, we will lure out the Taisha demon sect, and you 3 Taoist descendants will join forces to suppress them. Ancient Patriarch Fenchen nodded. From the immortal ancient 10,000 Immortals Association to Bai Ziu's defeat before. During this period, only a few months have passed. But Zhang Chen's strength has undergone tremendous changes. If Zhang Chen is allowed to continue to grow, even if they join forces to fight, No one can suppress Jiang Chen. Therefore, they cannot wait until the next piece of innate luck appears. It just so happened that the discovery of the immortal peak of enlightenment was an excellent opportunity. When the innate luck comes, God's will accompany it and suppress the strong elders. But in the immortal peak of enlightenment, there is no such thing as a heavenly barrier, so they can naturally do some tricks. Underscore. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 140. The dispute between the successors of Immortal Court is related to the layout of Immortal Court for countless epochs. If the Immortal Master notices this, I'm afraid the gains will outweigh the losses. Ye Wenchen pondered slightly. Of course he knows. Ancient Ancestor Fenchen and others have deliberately unsealed the immortal peak of enlightenment, so they will definitely take action. But Ye Wenchen was a little worried. If this matter is discovered by the Lord of the Immortal Court, then their three great traditions will be completely disqualified from competing for the position of successor. If it had been in the past, Ye Wenchen would not have had this worry. Because the Immortal Master has always been in deep sleep, he has never interfered in the dispute between successors. But now, the situation is different. The ancient Immortal Court was manifested twice by Jiang Chen, and the Dharma was transmitted to Jiang Chen through the air. It must be said that Ye Wenchen would not believe it without the instructions of the Immortal Master. That is the immortal peak of enlightenment, that is the place where the Saint Ancestor attained enlightenment. Even if the Immortal Master has tremendous cultivation, as long as the true body does not come, it is impossible to detect it. And again, we are not blatantly acting, but only secretly assisting one or two. The Immortal Master has never said that the masters of the ancient Immortal Court cannot join forces with each other, right? Ancient Ancestor Fenchen chuckled, obviously he was already prepared for this. Now that we've talked about it, then I would like to know, who do you think you are more optimistic about? Upon hearing this, Ye Wenchen looked at Ancient Ancestor Fenchen and asked. During the Ancient Immortal War, although the ancient Immortal Court was destroyed, many peerless giants survived. There are many supreme ancient ancestors like the Fenchen Ancient Ancestor. These scattered ancient ancestor-level existences are the terrifying foundation of Xianting's comeback. The reason why Ye Wenchen wanted Ye Jinwu to become the successor of Immortal Court. The purpose is to integrate the remaining power of these fairy courts. It can be said that giants such as Fenchen Ancient Ancestor can, to a large extent, influence the position of the successor of Immortal Court. That is, anyone can do it. But, people from the heaven realm can't do that. Ancient Ancestor Fenchen said. Ye Jinwu from the first ancestral land. Bai Ziu from the 10th ancestral land. Sun Tianji in the imperial forbidden land. Gu Senluo from the yin-yang tower of life and death. Behind these four traditional successors, there are figures of giants from the immortal realm in the past. But Jiang Chen from the Taisha demon sect was not an orthodox descendant of the Immortal Court. Among the 10 great realms, Tianyu has always been ambitious, wanting to surpass the immortal realm and become the strongest in all realms. Naturally, the supreme giants such as Ancient Ancestor Fenchen just did not want Jiang Chen to become the successor of Ancient Immortal Court. Of course, these are just general statements. Real reason. The underworld. Yin-Yang Tower of Life and Death. Why did the giants of the ancient Immortal Court target the Taisha demon sect like that? Gu Senluo, who used secret methods to burn and practice Hedeo immortal seeds, was quite puzzled when he heard the words of his ancient ancestor. In order to prevent Jiang Chen from becoming the successor of the ancient Immortal Court, the supreme ancient ancestors actually joined forces with each other? This is obvious. It's not just targeting Jiang, it's targeting the Taisha demon section, or in other words, it's targeting the entire Tianyu. It would be a long story to say this. To put it simply, the ancient ancestors of the Immortal Court who are now secretly joining forces were all suppressed by the Taisha demon ancestor. The ancient Shura, who was wearing a yin-yang Taoist robe and filled with the mood of life and death, said with a smile. In the last years of immortal ancient times, there was great chaos in the heavenly territory, and 3,000 days whose states were in raging war. The immortal territory wants to take advantage of this opportunity to invade and completely subdue the heavenly territory. As a result, the Taisha demon ancestor and other ancient ancestors, led by them, ended the chaos and directly entered the immortal realm. That battle caused heavy losses to the immortal realm. As a last resort, the ancient giants of ancient immortal court came forward one after another. But even if they came forward, they still could not stop Taisha demon ancestor. In fact, one by one, almost all the ancient ancestors of the immortal court were trampled into the mortal world by the Taisha demon ancestor. With Liang Zi here, the ancient giants of ancient immortal courtyard would naturally not be able to tolerate Zhang Chen's rise. In the past, Zhang Chen had no advantage among the 5 successors of the Emperor's seal, and was even at the bottom. Therefore, the ancient ancestor giants of the ancient immortal courtyard are all waiting to see what happens. But after Bai Ziu's disastrous defeat in the Dao domain battle, those ancient ancestor giants couldn't sit still. With the invincible fighting power displayed by Zhang Chen, there is no suspense in the battle for the immortal court's successor. The alliance of those giants of the ancient immortal court is naturally a happy event for the yin-yang tower of life and death. If we successfully fuse the immortal species, I think we can suppress Zhang Chen without anyone joining forces. After hearing this, the young and white-headed Gu Senluo said. He had already seen the battle between Zhang Chen and Bai Ziu through the spiritual crystal. It must be said that Zhang Chen's fighting power is indeed terrifying. If they were to face each other now, Gu Senluo's chance of winning is very slim. However, once the immortal seed is fused, the situation will change. At this rate, it will take at least a few months for you to completely fuse the immortal seed. It is estimated that the juniors in the first ancestral land and the imperial forbidden land will take almost as long. By that time, with the cultivation level of that kid from Tianyu, he will definitely reach the realm of the great emperor. Gu Shura slowly shook his head and said. When Zhang Chen was in the quasi-emperor realm, he could overpower Bai Ziu, who was no weaker than Gu Senluo. When Zhang Chen completely sets foot in the great emperor realm, his combat power will definitely reach several more levels. The 9th level of quasi-emperor realm and the great emperor realm seem to be only one level apart. But the gap between them is not only a huge difference, but also an astonishing gap. When Zhang Chen crosses that gap in cultivation, his combat power will naturally change. In other words, while Gu Senluo and others are getting stronger, Zhang Chen's speed is definitely not slow, but faster. Zhang Chen's monster-like cultivation talent has been proven to the world many times, and there is no need to question it at all. It seems that we can only join forces. Gu Senluo murmured to himself, with a somewhat complicated look on his face. He was also a monster from an era when he once ruled. Now he actually has to join forces with others to suppress a peer? Naturally, Gu Senluo's mood was a little complicated. During the 10,000 Immortals conference, although he had formed an alliance with the ancient geniuses. But the situation at that time was completely different from now. When the ancestral realm giants of ancient immortal courtyard joined forces with each other, an unknown disaster came to the world quietly. Snowy Land. As the name suggests, this is an ancient domain covered in ice and snow all year round. Among all the realms, the snow region is not famous, and not many people even know about it. If it were in front of the 10 directions, it would be even more insignificant. At this time, deep in the snow, on a snowy peak hundreds of millions of feet tall, a strange gray mist appeared without warning and gradually filled the entire snow peak. After that, those strange fogs spread in all directions with the snow peak as the center. Tisk. The top of the snow peak. Those weird fogs emerged in the center. The void shook slightly. The space was directly torn apart. An unfathomable, abyss-like endless black hole appears. Boom! Immediately afterwards, from the endless black hole, a series of terrifying creatures came out. The void is accompanied by vibrations and seems to be about to collapse. What's even more shocking is that the creatures that walked out were all completely black. And each statue is surrounded by the aura of darkness, constantly looking down at the aura of heaven and earth in the snowy area. It's been a long time since I last saw the pure spiritual energy of heaven and earth. A ferocious creature with a single horn on its head and red eyes opened its hands, feeling the aura of heaven and earth in the snowy area, with a ferocious smile on its face. After the creature with red eyes, other dark creatures also showed their faces. The color of enjoyment. After all, the aura of heaven and earth in this domain is transformed into the energy of darkness, their cultivation will definitely undergo a huge transformation.